Hello everyone, my name is Hazel Millichamp and this is the Light on Leeds podcast, where I shine a light on all of the brilliant people in Leeds and the amazing things that they're doing. This week's guest is Errol Murray, who founded Leeds Dads. Leeds Dads is a voluntary organisation that brings together a diverse community of fathers for social interaction and support. Errol was a real treat to speak to, really interesting and really passionate about what he does. I think you're going to enjoy the episode. Have a listen. For this episode of the Light on Leeds podcast, I have Errol Murray, who's come to speak to me. Hello, Errol.
How are you doing?
I'm really good, thank you. Thanks for coming along.
Thanks for having me, Hazel.
No problem. So, Errol, you run Leeds Dads. For anybody who doesn't know what that is, can you explain, please?
It's a support group for dads and their preschool children. So if if you're a dad and you're in Leeds and you've got a baby, or a toddler, we're here to support you. We run play groups and activities so that dads have got somewhere to go where they can feel a bit more comfortable maybe than being the only dad in a play group or being the only dad in a playground. And we also offer a lot of support to the dads in terms of being able to work with their peers, connect with other dads, share stories and ideas. And there's someone at the door. Can you believe that?
It's okay, I'll pause and you go and answer it.
Okay, hold on.
Okay. So, Errol, was there a reason why you felt it was necessary to start Leeds Dads?
It all came from need. It all came from necessity. So we'd moved to Leeds. I knew Leeds. My brother lived here for about 30 years, and I was living in London, and my then girlfriend was living here, and we were looking at getting together, and we couldn't work out whether we wanted it to be in London or in Leeds. But she just started a new job, and we thought, you know what, bringing up kids in London is such a challenge. Let's give Leeds a go. And being here, growing up, being here was great. Really enjoyed being here, being like a couple in Leeds, without responsibilities. What's it called? Double income, no kids, dinkies. We were dinkies. It was brilliant. And then after a while, it was like, oh, we've got kids. What should we do? We've got a child? Who do we talk to? Nearest family was 50, 60 miles away. We didn't have a lot of support in terms of friends who had children, so it was difficult. And I was working in Manchester. My wife was off work at home with our daughter Rhea, and I thought I'd better do something to help her. So I asked a couple of the mums that I worked with if their partners would come and join me, and because I wanted to set up a group, and we there were, I think, 3 or 4 of us who got together for the first group at Leeds City Museum Cafe, with our babies, all either toddlers or babies. We talked about how tired we were. We talked about the lack of conversation we had with our partners. Have you got milk? Yeah, I got milk. Did you get some bread in? Yeah, I got the bread in. Don't forget to get the cheese. Oh, okay. That's it. That's conversation for a week, and it's just through sheer exhaustion. And we, I don't know, we bonded over that. And we're talking about the size of our kids' punamis, this sort of torrent of poop that would come out of the kids. And mine's bigger than yours. No, my kid's poop's bigger than yours. And we said, oh, this has been a good sort of like, yeah, experience. Should we do it again? Yeah, okay, let's do it again next month. And in June 2022, it was 10 years. So we're
Wow.
10 years old. Um, and it's still going.
That's fantastic. And do you feel like things have changed in any way since you first began?
Oh, massively. So many different things have come through. We used to meet once a month, and one month you get like 10 dads, the next month you get two. And I'm thinking, there's got to be a cure for this. There's got to be a solution to make it a little more consistent. And the answer was basically having it every week, having an activity every week.
Hmm.
And it's taken us this long, sort of in the last year, to get to this stage. So we either have a free soft play, or a free breakfast club, or a free dads and kids Lego meetup, or a free dads and kids walk, a walk around the park. And
And have you seen your numbers expand?
we get about 30 dads at the soft plays. We get maybe 15 at the walks. We'll get 20, 25 at the dads meetups. So it's just gone whoosh, and that's every week. So the impact's been amazing, and the feedback that we get from dads has been great as well. We've also started running forest schools. So we all our activities are free. We've managed to get them funded, which has taken a long time.
Hmm.
And we now run forest schools at Meanwood Valley Urban Farm, and we'll get maybe 15 to 20 dads with their kids aged up to primary age, I'd say up to 11, um, looking for worms and bugs, looking at different types of leaves, understanding how what bark does on a tree, digging, and also pond dipping, and seeing what wildlife we can scoop out of the water and get newts, baby newts, frogs, frog spawn, water boatmen, those little bugs that
Yeah.
look like they're pulling the oars as they're swimming along. So we and some of the dads tell us, this is great. I've never done this before, and that's amazing. That really feels like we're fulfilling a need,
Yeah,
and
absolutely. But it must take quite a lot of organising, Errol, because you're a completely voluntary organisation. Is that right?
it's a nightmare. It's mad. We've got um, we've got some great guys who we work with, and we've got some wonderful people who give us some of their time. But our biggest challenge, totally, is in volunteers. It's really difficult to get people to say, "Oh, I'll give you some time so you can um, step back a bit." For the first sort of 6 7 years of Leeds Dads, it was basically me doing it and one or two volunteers, and it was such a challenge. It was really hard,
Yeah.
and what happened, I think it was about 2017. I thought, you know what, I can't get people to help, so it's been a good experience. Let's knock it on the head now. So let's have a big party and get everyone together, and then say thanks, goodbye. And I managed to get some volunteers to help have a party on Father's Day,
Yeah.
and we took over Leeds City Museum uh, and Millennium Square, and we had lots of arts and crafts. We managed to get the Northern School of Contemporary Dance to do
Wow.
get dad dancing lessons, and we had a Father's Day party, and it was family oriented. So grandmas, mums, and granddads. kids up to 11. We say 11 because I think they'll be interested in the activities that we do.
Yeah.
And they all came, and I think we had about 1,500, 1,800 people at that
Wow.
first Dad's Tastic Day. And everyone said, "Oh, this is great. You know, how can I help? How can I help?" And I'm like, "I'm shutting it down. I've had enough." But it was lovely. It was a great sign, and it helped me to keep pushing. However, our biggest challenge still is getting people to say, "I'll give you some of my time." And I think what you're doing is good for the city, good for the community, good for me, for some of the families,
Yeah.
and there's always a million other things that people have to do, and that's a real challenge, and I don't quite understand how best to address that.
Yeah. So if somebody was listening to this podcast and they thought, oh, this sounds like something I'd like to get involved in, what would be the best way?
Contact info@leedsdads.org. Info@leedsdads.org.
Yeah.
And it'll get through to us, and say that you're interested in spending just an hour or two at weekends, making cups of tea, buttering toast, um, just talking to dads at soft play, just befriending them, just being supportive, leading walks. That's always a simple thing. It might just be a walk on a path around a park. Um, Laying out toys at our events. Um, or the more laborious task, which is the admin, helping us to sort out our finances, if you've got finance skills, or if you've got marketing or social media skills, ways of being able to promote the organisation. We had a Dadtastic Day in 2022, which is this year now, and we had over 2,000 people attend. And
Wow.
to know that we're having that impact, it's really positive. It's really empowering. However, it's still the same group of volunteers who come out, and it's really wearing. And we do reach out. We do contact the organisations that help people find volunteers. However, we find that a lot of those groups, a lot of those organisations have volunteers who get time through work. So
Right.
it's time, it's time banking, I think it's called. So
Okay.
so the time that they give is sort of like office hours or weekday hours, and all our activities are based at weekends. So we do
Right.
find that a challenge.
Yeah, I can imagine that. And I was looking at some of the different things that you hold on your website, and one that struck me was the Saturday styling sessions. I only have a son; he's 24 now, so he's no longer a child. But um, I've got lots of nieces, and when they used to come and stay at my house, my sister would get really cross because I just had no idea how to style a little girl's
Oh,
hair. So when I saw that, I thought, oh my gosh, that would have been really useful.
yeah. Well, we run Saturday styling sessions, which is basically um, a Zoom group where you can learn how to um, style your daughter's or your son's hair.
Yeah, of course.
Um, it's quite funny. We did have one situation where the dad was doing the daughter's hair, and the mum was doing the dad's hair, and and both were having their hair plaited. And I'm like, wow, this is a moment. And it might be that dads are estranged from the mums. It might be that they have mixed race children, and they're not sure how to manage the hair.
Yeah.
And we've got a hair expert called Faye, who also runs an organisation called Boom Chicka Boom, which has children's parties, baby raves.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah, that it's everything you can imagine that they'd be, and she's really good at being able to talk dads through. and explain to dads and partners um, what to do with the hair, how to treat it, how to understand the different types of hair. I didn't even understand that. You know, some hair's dry, some hair's porous, and if you put too much oil on a different type of hair, then you can't actually manage it properly. So that was really positive, and we got great feedback from that. Um, from
And do you have dads come to you and suggest workshops or things that they need?
Yeah, we put up a board. We put up a post-it board at our meetups, and we invite dads to write down what they want. And inevitably, it's like a beer trip or a train, sort of like a train ride, so they can go and have a weekend away and sort of a lot of escapism.
Yeah.
But they do give lots of interesting ideas. Once the dad said wanted to do pottery. I said, oh, okay. And we organised for the dads to go to a place called Jack Rabbit's, which is a place where you can paint pottery and get it glazed. And it's a really, yeah, therapeutic thing to do. Very calming, very,
Yeah.
very relaxing. And you got these dads, big muscles and tattoos, you know, painting a plant pot, and it's very sweet. It's very relaxing. I was surprised at that. But if they tell us, if they say, "Oh, we want to do X," oh, what was the other one? They said they wanted to go. A couple of dads said they wanted to go to the seaside, and we're like, "Oh, we haven't done that yet." So we said, "Look, we can go to the seaside, but you'll go, and we'll help you organise it, but you're going to have to organise it."
Yeah.
And bless them, they did, and they took a coach of, yeah, we all went, and we took 50, 60 people to Scarborough, um, on a Sunday afternoon, for a day on a Sunday, and we charged everyone a fiver, and but we added our own funds to that, and it meant that people had a day out that they couldn't normally afford, and it was a scorching hot July, and the day we went, it absolutely bucketed down. It
Oh
was
no.
torrential rain. It was awful. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm really sorry, guys. It hasn't worked out. And they're like, doesn't matter. We're away. We're away. And we went to, is it SeaWorld in Scarborough?
Yes.
And looked at all the animals there, all the sea life. And then we went to the beach, and it was still raining, and we couldn't get the kids off the beach because they just wanted to play. And it's raining, so they dug holes and filled up the holes with water on the beach. Then had a big chips, fish and chips tea, and headed back. And it's like, everyone's saying what a great day, and I'm thinking it's chuck down all day. It's like, no, but we had a day at the seaside.
That's all I needed, a day at the seaside.
So we do listen to dads. We do think about what they want, and we work hard to. Well, it's about staying relevant, isn't it? If we're
Mhm.
not relevant, we're unnecessary, and it does get difficult sometimes because you're providing things that you think that they want, and it might be popular, it might not. For example, um, during lockdown, we had dads and kids walks, and we found them really popular. Um, and as lockdown ended, as the COVID restrictions eased, we said, okay, we're back to breakfast clubs and meetups, Lego meetups, yay! And no one went. No one
Oh
wanted to go.
wow. But do you think that was partly to do with people being a little bit anxious about getting out and about?
Absolutely. It was about people thinking, I want to be with others, but I don't want to be indoors with
Mm.
others. And that's us getting it wrong. That's us realizing, oh, it's not what people want. They actually wanted to be together, but outdoors.
Yeah.
And, December, January, February, we're still running walks and it's freezing. And sometimes it wasn't great weather, you know, and Dad's turned out with the kids wrapped up in the pram, and they went for a walk. So
That's brilliant.
yeah, if you look on our Facebook page, just search for Leeds Dads, you'll see loads of images, or Instagram, and more than anything I can say, the images will tell you how people are relating to the group, what people are doing, and how they see it. There's We had a walk a couple of weeks ago, and only one dad turned up, and the guy who was leading it, the dad Ron, who's leading it, said, "Well, should we go for a walk?" And he said, "No, I've come here to meet Dad, so let's give it a bit longer to see if anyone else turns up." And a couple of dads called and said, "Oh, we're about 20 minutes away. Should we bother coming?" And this dad said, "Yeah, come, because I've come here to meet dads, and I'd like to see other dads and talk to them about what it's like." And they left maybe 45 minutes late, and there were three of them. But this dad got to meet other dads, got to talk, share his own experience, and he came out of it feeling great. And we're talking him into leading groups now, so fingers crossed. That we'll have him as one of our volunteers, which hopefully you can see is how it works.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I imagine that's. I mean, it's great to go on, the walks and the trips and all of the different things that you run, but that must be just such a huge part of it for dads to be able to speak to other dads.
Um, One of the dads, George, he's he always comes over and pats me on the back and says, "You know what our superpower is? It's us. We are our superpower." And it took me ages to understand, but he's basically talking about peer support, the idea of dads helping other dads, men helping other men. And there's one dad who used to come to the group, and he'd sit on a chair, and his son would be around his feet. His son was a toddler, and other dads would be lying on the floor, and their kids would be crawling over them, and they'd be dribbling and sort of like hitting their dads with the phone, or with a toy hammer or whatever. And um and this other guy would be watching them, and then his son would be climbing up his leg, and he was just watching, and the engagement was I found it really difficult because there wasn't engagement, but he had joined us,
Hmm.
and he was watching. And then, after quite a few sessions, he sat on the floor, and his son just sat in his lap, and they didn't do much more than that, but that was the dad learning that it's okay um, to model the behavior that he sees, and to allow his son to crawl over him, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah,
And
because that
it's
must be a difficulty that difficulty can be that if you've never seen how a dad-child relationship works, perhaps in your own life you didn't have a father figure, for example, then
yeah,
it can be very tough, can't it? And I think people perhaps don't take that into account.
I don't think people understand. Well, I think the challenge is the challenge is transience. We have a transient society nowadays. Um, Basically, we live where we were born, isn't where we're growing up.
Yeah,
Where we live now isn't where our family or our sort of core community is based.
Yeah.
So we've left our parents, left our friends, left our family, moved to a new home for a lot of people, moved to a new town, and we're living amongst um, new people, doing great jobs, living great lives, meeting someone else, building a relationship, and then all of a sudden, bang, there's a family. But there isn't mum around the corner, as it was for our mum, possibly. And there isn't
Hmm.
dad or auntie at the end of the street, or a brother or sister at the end of the street, as it was maybe for our a generation back. And it's really difficult to understand how to be a dad when you don't have role models, don't have peers, and because that's how society is formed at the moment. There's no real way around that. There's no alternative.
Hmm.
So that's where Leeds Dads comes in to a certain extent, and it creates a community of dads, which offers peer support, our superpower,
Hmm.
where dads can get to talk to other dads and say, "Oh, my son won't step on the last step of our stairs. You know, is there something wrong with him?" It's like, no. Oh, my son won't tie his laces on the bottom step. It's got to be two steps up. Is anyone else got a child that does that? Yeah, my son does that. Oh, my daughter does that. But she's on the third step, and then you realise that you can normalise behaviour, or you can understand behaviour much better.
Yeah. And you're not alone.
And you're not alone. The hardest part is thinking, I'm the first of my friends to have a child, and they're asking me about what to do, and I don't know what to do myself.
Hmm.
So it's about finding ways to get support from your peers, and then to discover that you are the support for your peers as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're doing a fantastic job there, Errol. And you did mention that you've not lived in Leeds your entire life, but I take it you lived here long enough to answer the three questions that I ask every guest.
Oh, lovely.
So the first question is, what do you think is great about the city of Leeds?
Um, Leeds is sneaky. Um, Leeds is a full-grown city, scaled down. So you've got all the benefits of a Manchester, a Bristol, a Birmingham, a London, but on a much smaller scale. It's to me it feels like quite a small city. So it's very accessible, and it's still very cosmopolitan. You've still got lots of different things happening here, but it's not on a scale where you'd be lost in a city,
Yeah,
as you would say in London. So that's a great thing about Leeds.
that's a great answer. And if you had to choose something that you think is not so great about the city, what would you choose?
One thing that does hold Leeds back is that it does still hold so many small town attitudes. It can be scary.
Yeah,
It's slow. It's still very slow to progress. Um, uh, we Leeds Dads takes dads and families to carnival, and we take, like, 30, 40 dads, mums, aunties and kids, uncles, on parade in costume. You should join us, and we take the walk around the route. It's great fun. Um, However, I remember one year, one of the mums told me that her dad told her not to go. I said, "Oh, why is that?" And she said, Because the route is full. Chapeltown is full of a word I'm not going to say,
Right.
and and to know to know that language still exists is upsetting. To know that attitude still exists is shocking.
Yeah, it really is.
And and I said to her, well, how do you feel about it? And she said, I'm here with my friends and our kids, and I brought them, and we've spent the day together, and there are like 8 of us, and we've had a fabulous time. Everyone's been really supportive. People have been giving us drinks and on the way round, and giving the kids sweets to keep their energy up. We're in costume. We got dressed up. Someone put makeup on us. We've been treated great. It's a lovely day, and um, it takes a lot for people to come out of the culture, the attitude that's embedded within families, within communities, um, and do something different. And a lot of those small town attitudes, a lot of those um, unsophisticated attitudes, and sometimes very sophisticated but negative attitudes, still exist in across Britain, across Yorkshire, and definitely, unfortunately, still in Leeds.
Yeah, that is a shame. And if anybody, wanted to ever go to the carnival and they've not been, I can confirm that it is an amazing day. It's one of the days I look forward to every single year. I can't wait for this year, especially because it's been such a break. Yeah, carnival for me.
We gear our year around it. We're not going away for the carnival weekend. We'll be here, and
Yeah.
we'll be in costume. We'll be on parade. And if anyone wants to join us, I think it's only a fiver for the kids' outfits, a tenner for the adults. So email info@leedsdads.org.
Yeah, what a great opportunity to be involved in such a fantastic cultural event. And Errol, if you knew somebody who had lived in Leeds for a very long time, would you be able to tell them about something that you would consider to be a hidden gem that they might never have heard of?
Oh man, I'm trying to think. I was thinking about this, and I was trying to work out what it is that people would go to, or where people would go, or what people could do. And there are lots of places that I can think of, and I'm trying to remember the place. Oh no, what's it called? Oh, I'm struggling now. It's in Seacroft, which
Yeah.
isn't a great area. It's got lots of challenges and lots of things that lots of challenges in the area. But there's a spot in Seacroft, um, just round the corner from Ninja Warriors. If you
All
ever go
right.
to Ninja Warriors, which is a sort of like a trampoline park where you can look out and see the city. It's in the sort of northeast of Leeds, and you can look out and see the city. And as you look out, you can see the Dalek, the biggest building in Leeds. You can see Parkinson Steps, which is the University of Leeds building. You can see the Trinity Shopping Centre, and it's just a great view of where we are, and gives you a moment of to think, what the city can be.
Yeah.
And whenever I take my son there, I say, "Where are we?" And he says, "Top of the world." And it feels like we are at the top of the world. So I'm trying to think of the street. There's a street where you can do this, and I can't remember the name of the street. I'm frantically looking it up while we're
Well,
talking.
if you find it, you can let me know, and I'll attach it in the notes.
Okay.
And what will you be doing with the rest of your day today?
Um, Today, I'm very pleased to say we're off to Sammy this evening. We're going to Sammy's restaurant, which is a Moroccan restaurant in Chapel Allerton, and we'll be going there for a meal with 20 of our volunteers,
Wow.
and we'll be using it as a way of saying thank you for supporting us, for being with us, and it's just an opportunity to slow down and sit back a bit and say, oh, how have we been doing? Oh, we're doing all right. We're doing okay. And to explain to them what we've been up to, and how their role has how they have played a role in the year that's just passed. And it's the end of our year at the moment. We try and stop at the end of July because we're knackered,
Yeah.
and we plan now to start again in September. So our year starts in September, and our groups start in September, but they end in July. So we've got a little time to sort of like recuperate now, and
Yeah.
then look forward to what we're going to do next. So we're using this as our opportunity to just to think, plan, assess, and then apply ourselves for the next year. And the start of that is us going for a meal and just saying thank you. We're laying everything on for everyone. And Sammy's, it calls itself a restaurant. Not being unkind. It's a kebab shop with tables. So there's nothing extravagant about it, but it's lovely food, a lovely warm welcome from Sammy, and it's just a great spot, and it feels like a community restaurant because people just wander in, sit down, have a cup of tea, have a 3-course meal. It doesn't really matter. They're just using it as a resource within the area, and that seems to work well.
Oh, well, that sounds absolutely fantastic. I wish you a really great evening. Thank you so much for coming along and speaking to me, Errol. I'll put lots of links in the podcast notes so that people can find out what you're up to and your social media and can volunteer if that's what they want to do.
Thank you. The street that I'm thinking of is Ram's Head Approach.
Oh,
Ram's Head
yes.
Approach in Seacroft, and you can from there you can look out and see the whole of Leeds sprawling in front of you. The beauty, the challenges, the opportunities. It's all right there. Ram's Head Approach.
Well, thank you so much. Fancy for getting that name. Thanks so much for that, Errol. And best of luck with everything.
Thanks very much for inviting me on, Hazel.
No problem. I'm sure you'll agree that Errol was a brilliant guest and it was fantastic to hear more about Leeds Dads. As usual, there's lots of links in the podcast notes so that you can get involved and perhaps help him with his challenges about volunteering. Get in touch with info@leedsdads.org. Yeah, excellent to speak to Errol, and he's chosen to feature a track that is quite apt. It's called Fatherhood, and it's by Tommy Evans. It's a fantastic track. Thank you so much to Tommy for letting us use it. And again, lots of links in the podcast notes if you'd like to check out Tommy's other work. Speak to you soon, Leeds. Bye-bye.
Fatherhood, 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 fatherhood.
Fatherhood is a return to innocence, being a child again. This big kid has so much fun with his new best friends. Fatherhood is remembering how big the world out there can seem, how exciting, how strange living out your dreams. Fatherhood is Smiles and screams, tantrums and giggles. It's round the garden, row your boat, piggy in the middle. Fatherhood is coloring with crayons, sing along to nursery rhymes, face painting, cake baking, stories before bedtime. Fatherhood is being up all night, get used to interrupted sleep. A baby in bed, kicking your ribs, disturbing the peace. Fatherhood is sterilizing bottles, warming up milk, portions of porridge and Weetabix, mopping up those spills. Fatherhood is, fatherhood is, fatherhood is, fatherhood is. My father loved kids, this father loves his. Fatherhood is, fatherhood is, fatherhood is, fatherhood is, fatherhood is, fatherhood is. My father loved kids, this father loves his. Fatherhood is, fatherhood is, fatherhood is. Filthy bibs, dirty fingers all covered in grease. Handprints on the wall, the door, oven, cupboards and sheets. Fatherhood is changing nappy after nappy, a dribbling lip, a runny nose, bruises, rashes, sneezes, coughs, reoccurring colds. Fatherhood is being a child psychologist, a doctor, a teacher, a leader, an entertainer, a chef, a motivating speaker. Fatherhood isn't easy, no it's not. Madam will make demands of him. It's unglamorous, work, 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 it'll make a man of him. Fatherhood is a balancing act, work, play and family, such a juggle. But just to see you grow makes it worth the struggle. Fatherhood is an abundance of piggybacks, kisses and cuddles. To my children from your father, I wrote this to say I love you. I love you, I love you. My love's huge, my love's true. You're my blood too, so I hug you, cause I love you. My love's true.
Ori mwicha wange, ori vuheri wange, ori wange kumiaka kiosi.
Fatherhood is, fatherhood is, fatherhood is, fatherhood is. My father loved kids, this father loves his. Fatherhood is, fatherhood is, fatherhood is, fatherhood is, fatherhood is, fatherhood is. My father loved kids, this father loves his. Fatherhood is, fatherhood is, fatherhood is, fatherhood is, fatherhood is, fatherhood is. My father loved kids, this father loves his. Fatherhood is, fatherhood is, fatherhood is, fatherhood is, fatherhood is, fatherhood is. My father loved kids, this father loves his. Fatherhood is, fatherhood is.